Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Universal Lens. As always, I'm John Emilio, and unfortunately, I'm joking.
You looked unsure.
I had coffee before. I had a little bit of coffee. And as always, Henry and Anthony are back for another episode. And here we are. So thanks for coming back, everybody. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming back, everybody. You too. Well,
glad to be here.
I come back.
Glad
You point
to
a
be
gun
here.
to my head. Otherwise,
Yes.
I wouldn't be here.
Nope. So, how's everybody's week?
Good, man. Good. I got to tell you, I was pretty fascinated by that story you were telling before. Like, what else did you tell this? You were helping this older lady with restarting her career.
Yeah.
And you were telling her how basically you got to where you were,
Well, honestly,
which is only maybe a step or two ahead. I'm just saying, being modest, right?
Honestly, Anthony, so I've been in my real estate business, I would say 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm a rookie. I think this is my second. I just picked up my second listing, and I've sold 3 houses. So it's not like I've had this extensive experience, but I tinker with the psychological side of sales because a lot of this is psychology based.
You're dealing with people.
Right. And you're dealing with people. So
Yeah.
like when we talk about what we talk about in terms of mindfulness and in terms of awareness, you know, if you notice, we're very measured in what we say, how we say, right? I think you said it like, well, usually somebody who's aware will take a moment to respond to you.
Yeah, they won't just go, blah, 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 blah. You know,
Right.
They'll, I don't know if the mics picked up that sound. It was,
You're an inch away from the mic. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, you kind of adapt that method of the train of thought.
Yeah.
Right. So you kind of adapt the train of thought to think that way. And then I said, okay, well, I'm also a student of a guy like Scott Adams, who is big on persuasion.
Yeah.
So I like to study persuasion. And not that I go around reading books about it, but I do watch Scott Adams' podcast every day, sometimes twice a day, because he has the PM work. And you learn so much about human psychology, the mind, and just at the end of the day, we're all human. So even myself pointing these things out, you know, I also will fall into a situation where I am unaware because I'm human. And I just have a moment where like you said, somebody cut you off and fuck you, man. And then for a split minute later, you're like, all right.
Well, I think it'd be crazy if you didn't study that. I mean, you're dealing with people. So why wouldn't you want to, understand how they think? And, and you're in sales. I mean,
Right.
You want to sell something to them. You're trying to figure that out.
Right.
That's the, but how do you feel like, your mindfulness and awareness has helped you in that business though? Like, is it?
Well, what it does for me, it basically set the table for me. So if you're not aware, you're going to always talk about yourself. That's the usual human being. Like if you want a successful date, here's a good tip for all the young boys out there. You ask a girl on a date and you're really nervous about what you're going to say. You don't say much. What you do is you have some sort of interview with the girl and you just ask questions because you're really curious.
Like, the most unaware person or character ever was like Michael Scott from The Office. Has anybody ever seen?
Yeah.
I've seen The Office.
Great show.
He's considered one of the most unaware people,
He
right?
had no self-awareness.
None at all.
made it fun.
So there's your gauge,
All right. So, and in sales, you are trying to conquer the friendship of the person that you want.
Yeah, it's active listen. That's active listening.
See, I think what you're trying to do is build some form of trust with what you're telling me. I'm going to believe you.
100%.
You're not just trying to sell me crap. Like I'm going to be honest with you. I liked the real estate agent or the salesperson who goes, "This isn't for you. Let's go. Let's get out of here." Because we've walked into houses with my real estate agent and looked at the kitchen and he knew what we were looking for. Let's not waste our time. I know this place isn't for you, and he was 100% right.
I kind of do what he does, but I do it in a much softer way. Like, I'm not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
I'm simply saying, you had told me you wanted definitely two-car garage. You told me you definitely wanted a 3-bedroom. You told me you definitely wanted a man cave.
Yeah.
This doesn't have it.
But that's how you're going to build that trust, because he's like, this guy's being honest with me.
Correct.
Like when you bring your car into the dealership and you go, I think my brakes are really bad. They bring it back out. No, we checked it. We cleaned it up a little bit. There's just a little dirty, need to be cleaned. No charge.
You're his client forever.
Forever. I'm with that guy.
Right. And he,
like the guy that you gave me.
yeah, and he did
Oh, Gary, yeah.
and he did right by you.
100%.
So,
And of course, I gave a tip to the guys and everything. That's the right thing to do. But still, that's just right there, that honesty. So now the next time when I need work, I'm not going to question it. I know this guy's being honest with me, right? And the same thing, I'm sure, in your field.
And like, believe it or not, like a lot of people, this is something I was completely blind to, right? So in my prior field, I was in marble and granite imports, right? And so, yeah, I was in sales, but I was also in management, like
Sure.
I had to, hire, fire, buy.
You wore a lot of hats. Yeah.
Logistics.
Yeah.
So, if you sit back and just realize real estate agents are salespeople, mortgage people are salespeople, your waitresses are salespeople, car salespeople. Everywhere you go, furniture salespeople. This person who sold you this phone, the person, there's salespeople everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just drop. What is it? The drop in the tincture in the water. Mindfulness for a salesperson is an incredible tool, not to be diminished, because it's something special where you can sell without knowing you're selling, or without even feeling like it's a sale. Because the truth is, as a salesperson who's in real estate, clients don't come around often. In other words, they don't all bang on your door. It's the other way around, right? You got to go looking for them. So if you have that personality, you have that train of thought where you're a listener, and you also have the background of persuasion. Like, I want to persuade you into, not trick you, but to understand that I may be the guy for the job. I have the demeanor. And if you compare me to the others, you're going to see that this is, I'm the real deal. I'm not here to get a fast buck. There's hard work in what I do.
Yeah. When I was first moving from Brooklyn to Staten Island, the real estate agent we had for a year, I mean, we were seeing houses and she was taking us places where that was totally nothing we were looking for. And then all of a sudden, my buddy's wife becomes a real estate agent. She goes, have you looked at this place? And the real estate agent we were working with never showed it to us. And I was like, no, we bought that house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my real estate agent was like, I got a little upset. And I go, a year I've been working with you. I go, and then this house exists, the one I was looking for. And she shows it to me right off the bat. I mean, why didn't you?
So I got to say, I'm going to speak for that realtor, and I don't know that person, but sometimes
it was a long time ago.
Sometimes it happens that you didn't see something, but I will tell you this, the flip side of that is, if I was listening to Anthony and his wife, first of all, if I was listening to Anthony's wife and Anthony,
exactly. In that order, yeah,
I would know what are the top priorities in your mind, and I would first look for those top priorities, and then go from there.
Yeah.
So I think my last client that I got just now, who are incredible people, just crazy good people. They remind me so much of my grandparents that I never had, but I would imagine they'd be like that. Very, very nice people. So what got them, what I think, was I only met them for 15 minutes at the open house, 10, 15 minutes. But right there, I was compiling data, and they don't know it. But I was compiling data, like, okay, well, is this the unit you're looking at? More or less, is this what you're looking for? Like, no. So I listened. And I went, so this is where the hard work comes in. So after my long day on a Sunday, where most people are resting, I drove home. I picked up my signs that I laid out. So I drove home, pulled out my sheet, did my open house report, let my manager know how many people showed up. Then I went to opened up my system. And I went to towns looking for their specific goals, their area, their this, their that. And I found a few. And I sent it to them. And I sent them in a very nice email, which basically stated, I'm not here to bombard you. And I'm not here to bust your bull. I don't want to be that guy. So the next one that moves is you telling me you like what you saw, or hey, modify it, or
100%.
I won't bother you again because I
Yep.
don't want to be that guy.
So for technique wise, that's what the real estate agent that worked with me did. Every day he would send me what was available. And then we'd be like, we want to see this, 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 and this, and we would narrow it down on what we were looking for. And it seemed to work,
So check this out. So because the universe is always moving, sometimes it locks and sometimes you got something. There was this house that just came on the market and I look every day. So I met him on a Sunday and here I am on a Monday. Next day, looking. That day, something came up that was fit the bill. I was like, hey, Joe, just showing you what I found today. This came out today. What do you think? And he responded, you hit a home run.
Awesome, man.
Oh, man.
This is from yesterday.
No, this is last Monday.
Last Monday, okay.
You hit a home run.
How awesome is that?
Man. I was like, all right. He goes, this is perfect. So can we go see it? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I had him there in less than an hour.
Awesome.
And
That's
I live an hour away for it.
But it comes down to that. You listened to the guy and you knew what he was looking for. You weren't into what you were trying to get done.
Yeah.
It was what he was looking for. And you fit the bill. That's it.
Yeah.
You probably do have a customer flat. And I'll guarantee you when somebody in the family is looking to sell something.
Yes.
Like, listen, I got this guy. He got me the house I was looking for in a day.
Right.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
The story doesn't have a happy ending in the sense that particular house, they did not accept his offer simply because of technical reasons. His house was on the market yet, but but it did solidify my relationship with him.
Good.
And the wife. And he told me, he goes, I had another guy that we were using as well. We're using both of you.
Yeah.
But the other guy, first meeting didn't show up on time. The second meeting, he shows up in jeans and a t-shirt. He goes, you show up, you got your black slacks and your name badge. He goes, sharp.
Yeah, man.
So he paid attention to all these things too. He was paying
People
attention.
do, absolutely. I do, and I'm that kind of guy too,
I didn't think many people were paying attention to those details, but they do.
Mindful people do.
Yeah, and he told me after the first house that we saw, he came out, he goes, I like what you wrote in that email. I said, thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me.
Sure. And it means you're on the right track too for you. Yeah.
That's good feedback because
absolutely. Yeah.
If it was a fluke, great, I'll take it. Yeah. I'll take a fluke. We all need business.
Yeah, but if you know you're on track for something, then you kind of stick to that track. Yeah.
Right. That kind of was like, reinforcement that you're doing the right thing. But
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So, again, because this is a mindfulness pushing show. Mindfulness for people that are in the sales field, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend couple mindfulness with persuasion. Persuasion is a little more difficult because you hear persuasion and you think as a negative connotation, like I'm gonna hypnotize you to do something you don't want to do.
What about like Trump's Art of the Deal? Doesn't that have to?
Perfect.
That's like one of the best-selling books on how to cut a deal, and I'm sure persuasion has something to do with it.
That's correct. So you take a guy like Trump, it just himself. He's a master persuader. He's not good. He's the best at everything.
Well, it's to get to that level of real estate, you have to be.
This is nothing to do with politics or Trump or anybody else.
No,
it's not exactly a great example for mindfulness, but
right.
I'm just saying, as a
salesman, there has to be.
No. Yeah, as a salesman, I'm sure he's phenomenal.
Well, that's the part we're talking
about. But with this, but what we talk about here, it's okay. You want to be a great salesman, that's great.
Right.
But I don't think he fits the bill as a mindful. Like you want to say mindfulness. So if
I don't know, I'm going to disagree with you there.
No, because persuasion and mindfulness are two different things.
They're different skills.
They're two different things.
Yeah.
He might be a master of persuasion, not somebody who's a very mindful person. Persuasion is me.
You mean you
here
can't be both?
Persuasion. Somebody can be, I guess. I mean, I'm sure you can be. Yeah, you could be somebody who's, but persuasion is if it's used properly. If you're mindful and using it properly, then it can be used as a tool. But persuasion is me hearing what you're saying and basically regurgitating what you want to hear or what you're looking to hear back. Not lying, but pulling out, like you said before, the correct information, analyzing that information and saying, okay, this is what this person's looking for. This is what's going to attract them. It's a great sales skill. Phenomenal sales skill.
Yeah.
But not with a negative connotation. I'm not putting a negative spin on it at all.
I'll recap it in that it's a form of communication.
Yes, it is. It is. So to
you
try,
could either
so
employ it or not.
yes, exactly. But what makes you, I think, like what you guys have been listening the whole time, right? So this is what one of the skills of, maybe if you want to be a great salesman or whatever, is they call it active listening. Active listening is me hearing what you're saying and not having to give you my opinion right away. I'm okay with listening. Let me hear what you have to say. And then maybe have a conversation, poke and prod a little bit, try to figure out, like, it's a coaching skill too, right? Let me see what you're saying. I'm going to repeat what you said so you know I heard every word you just said.
Perfect.
That's where mindfulness comes back in. The persuasion part, listen.
That's persuasion, you just said.
Yes, but no. Persuasion isn't me telling you what you heard. But it's all
persuasion.
it could be a skill, but persuasion in general, like would you say, I'm gonna. You see, the word is a very tricky word.
Interpreted in different ways.
So the word persuasion is me convincing you of something. I'm persuading you to do something. So
not nothing you don't want to do.
No. Yeah. Well, remember, the person has autonomy over their own choice. They could choose whatever they want to choose. If I'm really good at it, maybe I can persuade you into something that maybe you weren't even thinking about. And maybe that thing is good for you.
Sure.
And maybe that thing is different. That's what I'm saying. Persuasion and mindfulness are kind of.
I think you're talking about the Jedi mind trick.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, but yeah.
Wait a second. Did the bonds
Just change your mind right here.
Well, mindfulness is more being aware of what your thoughts are. So if you want to apply mindfulness in sales or in any other business, it's listening to what's being repeated in your head as somebody's talking and having the ability of parking that aside, not giving you my opinion, not giving you an opinion based on fear or urgency that I've got to tell you this, or, oh my God, I got to get the sale, or I got to do this right now. But kind of like an example, like I sat here for 15 minutes and I didn't say a word because I was listening to you guys go back and forth. You have a nice conversation. I could have interjected 4 or 5 times and maybe, but no, I'm going to sit here and I'm watching every thought that comes up saying, yeah, not important. They don't need to hear that. That's not going to be. So mindfulness is kind of watching what your opinions are and then having the ability to say, is that opinion going to be helpful if I give it or not? Somebody who's not mindful and they're in sales, yeah, that's great. But let me tell you something, right? Let me tell this. Yeah, I don't know. I understand what you want, but you know what? Listen, for this time only, for 2 weeks only, we have this, and they're going to they'll try to push something on you because that person has no awareness whatsoever. If you're mindful and you know how to deploy persuasion, I think you could be a phenomenal salesperson. Yeah. Phenomenal salesperson. But I like to say that persuasion's got to be used with mindfulness as its backbone. If it's used just as a persuasive skill, it could be used, like I could try to convince you for anything. If I'm a master of persuasion. I want to convince you to buy that house. I don't give a shit what you want. I don't care what you're looking for, but I'm going to convince you to buy that house. But if I'm a mindful salesperson who knows how to be, like, I'm not persuasion really. I don't know if I do it or if I don't do it. I've never really looked into it. But if I'm a mindful person and I know how to deploy persuasion, but now I'm taking what you said and I'm going to kind of help you find what you're looking for, but not push something onto you, but make you feel heard, make you feel cared about, make you feel like, hey, I'm doing things the right way. Then whether you're wearing jeans or a pair of slacks, I think that's, somebody come in, they go, oh, this is cool, you're very relaxed. And the other person will come in, oh, that's cool, you're very dressed up. I don't think that's gonna, that's gonna be who's your audience that day that you're gonna get, right?
Yep.
So if you have mindfulness and persuasion, you're on a fast track to doing very well because you're gonna be using that persuasion properly. Well, not like a dirty salesman, because dirty salesman, not to give salesman a bad name, but like you said before, car
you
salesman.
don't have to give it to them.
No, listen, I was in sales, right? I was in sales for 2 years.
But there's a reason why
a little over a year out of college. I sold copiers for Canon. I hated it because I hated convincing somebody to buy something. It's just not my DNA. I couldn't convince somebody to buy something. Maybe now, if I was more mindful, I could find that kind of angle where this is maybe something you do need, like legitimately. So if you're mindful and you know how to employ persuasion, I think you could be great at what you do. And you have, I've never seen you sell something, but you listen to Scott Adams. You're mindful as fuck. So, you have the you definitely have the formula, right?
Well, there's a saying that we say during our listing presentation, which a listing presentation, you know what it is, right? So you gave me a shot at potentially listing your house. So I will go to your house and we have a prepared presentation. We do it differently.
Gotcha.
So every company does a different thing. We do our thing. And one of the pages in our presentation is the founder of the company, Jim Weicker, with his son. And they're holding up a for sale sign or something like that. And then the famous quote of Jim Weicker is, people buy people before they buy a product.
Agreed.
So based on that, that can be applied to, now obviously not every product, when you go into Walmart, I'm going to buy, like I'm going to buy a bed sheet.
Yeah, but
okay, all right.
a lot of that is marketing is just.
But think about it, right? So if you were selling Canon copiers, which is hell of a horrible gig, right?
I mean, that's why I did for a year.
Tough racket.
And I said, I'm going back to painting walls.
But if people, it's true. But if people can realize that I'm really not here to sell copiers, I'm really here to sell myself. And you're going to realize that this cool guy, who's a great guy, actually sells great copiers.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're not going to open the door for me if I'm not that decent guy.
No. Well, look, you could be a total dirtbag and still come off as the nicest guy in the world too. Using, that's why I said, like, you could be persuasive as shit, but be a dick.
Yeah.
You could be persuasive as shit and be a mindful son of a bitch who really has the client's best interest in mind. So the persuasion by itself, like, that's why I used that example when he said the book that Trump, The Art of the Deal. And I didn't get triggered, but it was an entry point for me. I was like, all right, this is a place where I could, because I thought that was a good example. Nothing against him. I think he's a phenomenal I don't think
so. What do you,
I know the man's a phenomenal businessman.
But I just want to clear it up. I'm sorry. Are you saying also that like he's more persuasive, less mindful? Is that what you mean?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I'm saying
gotcha.
He's great. Like, he's a great businessman.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm not even saying I think he is. He's a great businessman, right? The man's done.
I wonder if he uses techniques like that. I wonder.
He might. Well,
I haven't read the book, so I can't say.
I think to be successful, he is. Whether he knows it or not, he's being persuasive.
Yeah.
He's being persuasive. Now, does he deploy mindfulness? Okay, I'm not. I don't know the man, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say but what we know, what we see. No, he's not a very mindfulness doesn't come to mind. I'll say that, right? Like, my kind of mindfulness, at least, right?
I'm not ruling it out at all.
Yeah.
He's probably a great.
I wonder behind closed doors, like when he is doing a deal, maybe he deploys something like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Maybe it's a technique he uses.
Mindfulness?
Yeah, maybe. Behind closed doors. Listen, we've seen him at rallies. So he's definitely not being mindful there.
The mindfulness I'm talking about my kind of mindfulness. Like, where I hear things in my head, and instead of spitting them out, I park the emotion. No. I park the emotion. The emotion. I don't speak with my emotions. I speak with a higher.
I feel like he does that more now than he did years ago.
Well, yeah, that's neither. I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow him.
He's maturing at 70 something.
By what? Yeah. Usually
like
do. They usually do. People by time when they're knocking on death's doors, when they actually start to awaken. I'm talking. If I take somebody's portfolio, not business, like as a person, and what this person specifically has done. All right, I'm not thinking Buddha. Like, Eckhart Tolle doesn't come to mind. Buddha doesn't come to mind. Ram Dass doesn't come to mind. These were mindful. Like, these were the epitomes of mindfulness. These are people who taught it. And okay, so great businessman, whatever. I'm saying that if somebody like that good at doing what he does employs mindfulness on top of it, I think then the sky's the limit. Like, you could be phenomenal at what you do, better than, and be respected by the people you work with. Be respected by your clients. Your clients aren't going to feel taken when you're done with them. They're going to feel loved. They're going to feel cared for. They're going to feel like you had their back. You looked out for them. As a businessman who ran a construction company for 25 years, my main goal was, when I was done with the job, I wanted you to say, I didn't take you for a ride. I had your best interest in mind. I was here, yes, to run a business, but I was not here to take advantage of you. Right? That everything I did, my choices were mindful. My approach was very mindful of you, your needs, your concerns. That's what I'm talking about. Right? So that's with this whole business aspect that we're talking about today. That's where, because I know plenty of contractors in my field who are successful. No mindfulness. no self-awareness. That's probably a better word. No self-awareness at all. And that no self-awareness, their companies aren't around anymore, most of them, right? No self-awareness. That self-awareness or mindfulness, whichever word you want to use, I think is like paramount if you're running a business or if you're a salesman or if you're selling houses, you're selling cars, you're in whatever it might be. It's paramount to you. Like he said before, you got me for life now. Now you got me for life as a customer because you showed me something that's over and beyond just making the sale. You showed me the human aspect. You showed me you actually, instead of thinking of just the profit and closing the deal, you actually thought of me along the way, right? Like I've told people how to change orders because they were needed. And I always get looked at like, why? I don't want change orders. I don't need you to spend an extra dime because if you do, if I'm doing that to you, I don't like it. That's kind of what I speak when I speak about that whole mindfulness. That self-awareness.
No, I have examples exactly what you said. Like, my client right now, I'm thinking about power washing the side of this side of the house. The siding has green stuff on it. Like, like it's not pertinent. Like it's not that important. Like I'd rather see you apply your money, to something else because it's just not that important.
Yeah.
And so I do that because that comes from the gut. That comes from, not just like truly not wanting to harm the person or protecting the person.
But people appreciate when you're working hard for them. I mean, you showed them that you hustle too. I like that. When I'm paying somebody, decent amount of money and they're showing an effort, I always like that. I mean, that's what you're doing, I think,
I mean, you can only hope. Like, you're not in charge of the other person's thoughts or reactions.
Yeah. Well, that's the feeling I would get, I think, If you're showing me instantly the next day pretty much the house I'm kind of looking for.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that could be pure.
This guy went home and he did some research. That's appreciated.
There's stories out there. Like, there's a great realtor I work with who's the gold standard. Like, this woman is amazing. And she's got a client right now that's blaming everything that's happening to her house on her. And this woman is amazing. Like, consummate professional.
And you can't be pleasing everybody else.
But because this particular house is very particular and is not selling as quickly as everything else around you selling, now it's her fault.
Yeah, but people are going to do that. Yeah. I'll feel your thing. Yeah, people are going to do, look, I think you could go down a whole conversation about that. Everybody's different. But if you have that, if you do have that self-awareness you'll even be able to navigate that issue properly. So if you have a client who's not happy with something, they're disgruntled about something. I've had it, right? And I've had to, when you say you got to talk somebody off a ledge, right? Okay. So, the only way you could talk somebody off a ledge is if you have self-awareness and you have mindfulness, you'll understand how to speak to them and how to not engage them on what they're trying to kind of poke you and prod you about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Want to know one of the biggest things they taught us when we went to school for that? Talking people out of wanting to, harm themselves. Don't lie to them. You want to know why? Once they catch you in a lie, you've lost their trust.
Right.
And then it's over.
Right.
And that's what happens sometimes with salesmen. Sometimes they'll try to cut a corner or something like that, in all honesty. And that one incident, maybe it was a little corner or something, and that one incident, that's it. You've lost my trust.
Yeah.
And the exact opposite was what you did. You gained their trust in a day.
Yeah. So I realized what happens is that the consumer has certain things happening in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's reality. And then there's what you have going on in your mind, right? So we all live in subjective realities. You got me, right?
Yeah, I got you. I understand.
We all live in subjective realities. So just like if we go back in time to those times that we were both, all three of us were screwed up in the head, panicking and all this stuff, whatever was going on with us, that was our subjective reality. But here we are, same person, with the same brain, the same blood flow, and now we think differently.
It's funny how when those things happen, though. I think it's just your mindset. I think it's a time of life. I don't think we were ever meant to have the same mindset about things throughout our entire lives. Only because we experience so much, it's going to change the way we think about
ebb and
things.
flow, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think your ability to change is what's the most important thing. Because
To shift.
Yeah.
I don't even like the word
That's
change.
it.
Shift.
Adapt.
To
Yeah.
ability
shift.
to
To shift.
Yes.
Be able to shift over.
I
not
agree.
the act of, because because if you go back to whatever 100 years from now, and we lived in a remote little town in Japan that's known for people living to 120 years old in that area, based on lifestyle, the veggies they eat, or the whatever they.
You know, they have real places it's called blue zones across the world. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah.
He hasn't.
No.
Have you?
Blues
Yeah,
where
it's
people
called
live
Extra, like the longest throughout the world.
Has to do
One
with
of them.
lifestyle.
I think yes, but I'm just confirming what you said. I'm
So I would
sorry.
imagine if
Yeah.
we lived there, we might not care to shift our mindset any.
May not be
They
necessary.
tend to, but those people tend to be they tend to, whether they know it or not, have levels of self-awareness and mindfulness, those people.
Sure. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That if our environment was there, perhaps we wouldn't need to, but our environment is a law enforcement in non-blue zone, So
It's gray zone.
we
Yeah, sure. sure.
we live in this pressure cooker of a society, right? And then you got the phones, you got the stress of the bills and the stuff over here. What do you mean? Oh my God. Oh, steak. That will shake anybody and you lose it.
But can I say that's the points in our lives where if you ever notice where you have to start to change your thinking is those transitional periods are usually the most painful and where you learn the most.
Yes.
And from there, you're like, well, I'm not that same person from before this incident. Now I'm somebody different. I'm going to start thinking about things a little bit different. So I think that pain is transitional. That's the transitional period. It happens to everybody because we experience things in life and shitty things happen, whether it be divorce, you go bankrupt, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And then the strong ones adapt, they change, and they go forward with that new way of thinking. I believe that's how it works.
And I think exactly what you said. So I think it's that pain.
Mhm.
I think it's that discomfort that provokes the change. In other words,
Absolutely.
if it wasn't for that discomfort, if it was,
so
Why would you change?
yeah, but so those blue. Let's just because you said blue zones, right?
Mhm.
And I've heard of the blue zones that he was
I'm
talking
glad you
about.
did it, or I would have sounded like a maniac.
No,
You know?
no. So these blue zones, where's they've never taken themselves to the point of needing or change is not required.
I watched the whole show on it. Most of them live very simple lives.
Yes.
Very simple.
There's one's in Italy where like old women still walk uphill every day to do certain
The same
chores.
cup of coffee at the same time. They wave to the same people. How you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I watched. There was a whole show on it.
Yeah. So
I'd be okay.
I mean,
Exact
yes,
somebody
but but it's all based on one thing also. It's choices. I'm not going to sit there and blame anybody or anything for my life. I choose to play the rat race, let's say, right?
Right.
I choose to play the rat race. I don't have to. I don't have to.
But you got to take all the positives and
No-
negatives that come with that rat race, right?
No, exactly. What I'm trying to say is it's a choice. It's a conscious decision to want to enter it or well, no. Most people don't make a conscious decision. They just believe that's the only way. They believe that's the path and that's it.
That's
Subject. Yeah, this is what I know. Hold on a second. I don't care what you think you know. You don't know. You only know what you know, right? So if I told you, if I could wipe your mind clean, like it's like we've talked about on the show, somebody who gets amnesia, right? They get amnesia. All of a sudden they forget. All their bias go away. All their identities go away. They are a clean slate. Is that not the most, like, if I think about it from a psychological point of view, somebody who's lived a life, their whole life a certain way, all of a sudden something in their brain, an antenna, a connection to something where information is stored is fried or just use a better term or interrupted. And this person now is a clean slate. Some people have gone on to live different lives completely.
Yep.
Completely. Nobody raises an eyebrow and be like, I think that's amazing. I find that because their bias, their subjective reality goes bye like this. So they hit their head and it's gone.
Yeah.
Everything that they thought was true, that they believed was the word of God. It was like, this is it. Is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as easy to do it to yourself, obviously. But once you realize that I don't have to believe that I have to live in a rat race. I don't have to believe, if I want to live like somebody in a blue zone, I can live like that person. My society, my surroundings might not be conducive to that, maybe, but I could live like that. Like Anthony,
That's exactly what you're doing. Think about it.
Right.
Nobody's changed around you, but you have honestly changed for the better. And you're like, this makes me better. I don't, what?
And he's right.
And you
He's
have
right.
to do that in
He's
order
right.
to
He's
help
absolutely right.
yourself. You have to do that.
But like you said before, that came with
Pain.
Well, it was, you said something else. No, you said something else. Like the good, not the good and the bad. It comes with
the positives and
the
negatives of life.
The positive and negatives.
Or your choice.
Positives were, okay, it's great. The negatives were, there was, what do they call it? When in a war, when there's people who get,
PTSD.
hurt by accident. No, people get hurt by accident.
Fracticide. Fracticide, they call it.
There was casualties. There was like casualties, where I friendships got strained with certain people. Things in my life.
Consequences.
There was consequences of that decision.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't free, but I made the conscious choice to stay on that path because, okay, we'll call it a blue zone because I like the blue zone path, right? It works. It's
right.
Yeah,
but you changed and nobody changed around you, and people had to adjust. Listen, if you want to be friends with John Emilio, this is John Emilio now.
Yeah, I never tell people they have to change.
No. It's automatic. It's like John has changed his thought process, and he's moving on with his life. Do you want it to come along or do you not want it? Basically, that's what life is. You want to come along for the ride or not?
Well, there's a lot of truth to what he says. Yes, there's a lot of truth to it.
But it's like this. If you've been my friend for a long time, and sure, you change and you have a new outlook, you have a new way of processing things. You're not as quick to, let's say, reply back and engage in, let's say, heavy political stuff. I got it. I'm speaking for me.
Well, I think you're pretty much explaining our relationship.
Well,
don't forget, I've known the guy, since we were, in high school.
I speak for me when I say I wouldn't not want to hang out with you. You know what I mean? Like, I would just say, that's pretty cool, man. It's good for him. Because I think that's just my blank slate. But what happens is the other way, right? So he said there's been casualties, but there's been the other way where I see that and I appreciate it. Like, you now have an extra gear. It's incredible.
Well, don't you see the aura he's giving off is attracting different people? No, but it attracts different people.
Yeah.
So John has gone through, let's just say, that transitional phase, right? He came out with a different thought process and he's moving forward and he attracts different people.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say you, honestly.
But like, he was on his journey. Again, he didn't even know what the word mindfulness was.
Yeah, exactly.
And yet his blood gravitated to me and mine to his just because I need to get something off. I'm feeling a certain way. I'm like, bro, talk to me. What's up? We didn't know what the word mindfulness meant.
No, we
haven't seen any.
We never talked about
Henry,
that.
same thing happened to me, bro. We weren't that close like we are now. It just so happened that he started showing me some techniques and stuff like that when I was at my lowest point. And I was like, you know what? When you're grasping at straws, like for help, you'll pretty much, try anything. And it started to work. And, talking with John and everything, he showed me just a different path of thinking. And that was my transition. It's like, I don't think about everything exactly the same anymore, Can I go back to that? I don't want to, but I think I'm past it.
This, like this method of thinking, this iOS, as I call it.
Yeah, look at you, huh?
This operating system. Now, honestly, this operating system is, so I believe it's like, the old, that's all, folks. And they would,
Looney Tunes.
you remember that at the end of the
it would close up. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And then finish closing. This is that ability to take reality as you think you know it, open it for a moment and see behind the curtain and go, that's reality. We don't even know what that is, but at least we know it's a version. We know that what we thought was reality is not reality. It's a version of reality. So when you're in your funk, it's over, bro. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna, this anxiety is killing me. Okay. It's your version of reality.
Yeah.
Because the guy next to you,
it's not that bad.
I promise you. Like, I know what you're going through because I've been there, but
but imagine the power that when, John showed me, when you're at your lowest or anybody is, imagine the power to be able to, see the thought process coming, your brain telling you that you're a piece of shit, or you shouldn't have done something, or this and that, over and over and over. And the ability not to engage with those thoughts because it's really just your brain screwing with you, but honestly, but nobody really thinks about that. But in all honesty, I forgot what the saying was. This guy in Yellowstone, it's like, he turns around. Goes, yeah. The old man turns around to one of the young,
Kevin Costner
hands. No, the old.
Oh, the old guy with the
He goes, it's painful becoming a man, isn't it? And he goes, but it beats the alternative. He goes, but the pain, the good part about the pain, it's only in your head. He goes, that's because he basically saying you're visiting your own thoughts. Everybody's not thinking about it the way you are. You know what I mean? And yet you're beating yourself up only because of what you're telling yourself, because maybe not everybody looks at it the same. So I'll give you a quick one, real quick. Last night, my father-in-law, who's at the house, I had to power wash something real quick on the deck. Would taking me 10 minutes, couple drops, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, look, we were about to go in. Yes. About to go. I'm like, where are these drops coming from? You know what? So grab the power washer, and I see my father-in-law wants to contribute, right? He's like, he can almost try to pull it out of my hands with the force, right? Yeah. I go, here, Dad, you want to? So he starts power washing stuff, and he falls down outside. And on the way down, he grabs one of my light posts, which are like, square, and almost rips his chest open because he's got paper mache skin. So he almost went down for the count. I mean, almost immediately. And it was just crazy how he just wanted to contribute and just help out. And I almost forgot where the hell we were going with that. Why does I keep on asking?
Hold on. You want to hear something funny?
Wait, bring me back, pal. No, what are we talking about?
You want to hear something funny? As he's doing that, I swear.
You blank.
No, I swear, as he's doing that, I'm saying he forgot what he was going.
Oh, I'm going deep. Yeah. Sometimes when you're telling a story, you get so deep and you can't wrap back around to start again.
You lost the crumbs on the floor.
I'm telling you right now, don't judge.
That was funny.
Don't judge. Happens to everybody. I'm 50. All right. Wait, let me get back because I had a good point.
It was funny that I saw it coming too, and I'm like,
bring me back what you were talking about. Your point, please.
So, the ability to see reality, but your reality. Because if you were in the bad spot, I would be telling you.
So my father-in-law, who happens to believe he's a lot younger than he is.
There you go. That's what he was.
That's what it was. That feeling of, I felt bad for the guy too, because, he wants to help out, especially I had some minor surgery not too long ago, and he wants to do stuff, and
he's transitioning, guys.
He is transitioning, and you know what? He's but the look of disappointment on his face. Oh, I'm transitioning. Yeah, believe me, it'd be a lot easier. But yeah,
because he wanted to.
Yeah, but it's that transition, and he just doesn't want to believe what everything.
Doesn't want to accept it.
Doesn't want to accept it. Yeah. Reality is smashing him in the face. So I said to him, he looked all embarrassed. I said, this is what I'm getting back to. I said, the embarrassment is in your own mind. I said, it's not a big deal. I mean, maybe we caught it on camera and might have showed it to the kids. But anyway, no, but really,
I have one of those in front of my house.
I told him outside, I said, listen, it's not that big of a deal. I said, I tripped up the stairs going on a hit once with 14 alpha males behind me that I knew were going to tear me apart, just rip me apart and insult me later on. I said, it's not that big of a deal. I said, that embarrassment you're feeling, I said, only you're feeling it. None of us are thinking
That's
it.
Right.
Well, that's what I'm talking about is that,
Because that's that thought process.
All in your mind.
It's in his mind. It's a story that his mind is telling him
over and over
again.
That's
so it's
right.
Look, I hear stories every day. Every day. My mind I have a very, very imaginative mind. I have a mind that could come up with the freakiest, craziest situations, ideas, scenarios.
You're not the only one, yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm just saying, some people's minds tend to be a little bit more creative. My mind's very creative when it comes to stuff.
Gotcha.
And there's times where it's very helpful, right? But it's very creative. And it's not
picking
about
out drapes.
And it could be anything. So it's very easy to just look at it and you kind of, I don't start picking out well, this I wanted, this I want to believe, that I don't want to believe. It's all information, all zeros and ones that are flying by. And I go, what is important in my life right now? How does this help me? Does it help me? Yes or no? Is it helpful? Yes or no? Is it something that's going to be a positive influence in my life right now? Yes or no? Or else, what if this happens? What if that happens? And what if this happens to that person? What if this happens to that person? What if this happens to this? What happens to that? What happens to this?
But those questions,
I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm not good enough. I'm this. I'm that. I'm the other thing. Blah, 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 blah.
Those are key questions, right? So you have these thoughts. Is this useful to me? Is it helpful to me?
That's Dr. Stephen Phillipson said that. He goes, that's the beauty of choice. He goes, it's all about choice.
And that's what I'm saying is,
he says, is this thought useful?
A few weeks ago, when my anxiety was starting to creep up, I felt it. Like I felt the anxiety tapping.
Absolutely.
Why? Because I was slow. I had a little slow period. So, hey, freak out.
Yeah, it doesn't slow down the bills. That mail's still coming every day. Yeah,
that's kind of what's happening. Yeah. But then he had mentioned another technique that I mentioned, I think last time or two podcasts ago, which was just look at the thought in the face and say, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Acknowledge it. And don't just bro, stop. Because, then you become where the big brother who loves to pull on your pigtails, you go, that's the point. He's going to keep pulling your pigtails. Yeah. You keep getting pissed. But if you ignore him, or you could just say, hey, thanks for pulling my pigtails. It's not fun.
It's not. So Dr. Stephen Hayes said this with the tinnitus. He goes, it's not ignoring it with the hopes that it goes away because you feed the wrong beast. It's an absolute stopping or letting go of caring whether it's there or not. So if the thought's there, like the Henry's the end of the world, Henry's the end of the world, Henry's the end of the world, or Anthony, well, it's the end of the world, Anthony, John, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world, it's the end of the world. Do I, okay, thought, that's great, come along because I want you to go away, or is it, I don't care if you want to come or not, but mean it, I don't care, you want to be here? Great. You don't? Great. Doesn't matter to me, my life's happening right now. My life's happening right now. And I'm not saying that you feel great when you do that because you don't. Right? There's times where, I'll say that my ears will still ring for a day and a half anyway. But then it goes away for 6 days. And I didn't do anything magical. Yep. Then it'll come back. And then it'll go away. Because I don't give a fuck if you're here or you're not here. Doesn't feel nice at times. If you have anxiety, you feel the anxiety, right? Like I'll hit it, you'll feel the anxiety. I'll feel the butterflies. I feel like I'm getting in. And here comes it, and there comes a thought. The thought comes because I felt anxious. Thought. I'm not trying to push you away. Everybody, come on. What was I going to do? Well, yeah, I was going to start to make a sandwich. And also I started living my life where it's happening. And I start stories. I mean, we went from sales to this, which is great. But
the following statement is a true statement. And it's me being completely vulnerable in front of you guys, in front of anybody who's watching.
Or thousands of listeners.
That's it. So my morning routine, shower, brush your teeth, the whole deal, right? Yeah.
Cafe.
Obviously. That's the thing. But I was standing by my bed. I had just come up from my coffee and I was just about to jump in the shower. And it was during those days where nagging. And I swear to you, the following happened. Thought came in that would provoke the usual stress increasers, right? That's a fucking word.
Mm-hmm.
But out loud by myself, I said, "Thank you."
I've done that,
and I started to laugh just like that.
I've done that because I've done that. I laugh because I've done that.
Go, "Thank you," and I go, and I giggle to myself.
Why do you say it out loud though? You want to hear it?
It's an acknowledgement almost.
Yeah,
it's an acknowledgement. It's
better than saying it to yourself.
No, so it's because now you've separated it. Because now the voice is pecking at you. You've with an exterior voice,
I'm talking to you.
you're acknowledging it's there.
I have
saying
had
thank
that
you.
happen.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if I say, I can say thank you. You can do it in your head too. It doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
But some people find it a little bit more cathartic or therapeutic to kind of go, thank you. Like Dr. Stephen Hayes, who invented ACT, would always say he gave his name, gave his brain a name. So when his brain would want to fuck with him and give him something to obsess about, thank you, Bob. I appreciate it, Bob. Oh, Bob, that's a good one. It's almost, you do this. Here comes the separation.
Yeah.
Here's me. Here's you. Now we're not like this anymore. I've immediately, by doing that, it's like somebody pulls you back and and now you're looking at it. You're looking at that thought going, thank you, thought, but I'm here. Right? So he would name it Bob. So exactly what you did. He would sing songs about it, anything to separate it. And it helps with the acceptance part of it. Yeah.
I said thank you out loud and I started to giggle. Just like I did right now.
Yeah.
Like you did. Cause I'm like, like, what the fuck is going on? And it's not that you're going crazy.
No, man.
I
think everybody's got anxiety, honestly. Just different layers and levels of it.
It's a technique.
Yeah.
Like,
whatever.
I'm here to tell
That's great.
you. Because people are so, I'm not going to say worked up. I'm going to say shelled. Like, they're pistachios. They want to wear the outer shell, like, constantly, to their detriment.
Mm.
And you're looking at this. You're watching it happen. And you're like, if you just opened up a little bit, you would see that, like I just did right now. I think I opened up a lot, right? I just told you that
you talk to yourself.
Kind of talk to me. I don't do it often, but
It's nothing embarrassing. You're not doing anything a lot of people don't do.
Even if you did, Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now says he saw a man walking down the street one day talking to himself. And he realized the conversation the man was having was the same conversation he has in his brain. He goes, the only difference is, he goes, I'm saying it to myself. He's saying it out loud. He goes, there's no difference. There's no difference. Your perception of that person walking down the street, talking to themselves might be like,
I wouldn't do that in a crowded place or anything like that.
No, but
in your bedroom.
Yeah, the perception might be, okay, but everybody walking down the streets having a conversation with themselves, that one person just chose to verbalize it.
Right.
Now it's just a society, the way they look at it. That's the only difference. Because what he's saying in his head, I can guarantee you the 10 people around him are probably saying fucking shit that's 20 times worse.
and it just goes to show we're human.
Yes.
So the guys that talk about mindfulness all the time, we have nagging thoughts.
Absolutely.
We have these nagging thoughts. And every so often, they want to grab a hold. And like, I can tell you, I can see it coming. I can see how it wants to backdoor me. Right? You know that backdoor act?
Backdoor spike.
Yeah.
It's called the backdoor spike for a reason.
How it wants to I'm like, so.
It adapts too, by the way.
It adapts.
It adapts also.
It'll find.
The mind will adapt also.
It'll find a spike.
It's not about trying to say,
spike.
Once you say, oh, I got this, the mind goes, oh, do you? How about this?
So like in those few days, those few weeks where, there was peaks and valleys, which I don't like because, I don't like it, but
that's life.
Exactly. The fact that you don't like it is kind of part of the recognition of, so.
Oh, you don't like it shows that you're aware it's happening.
So don't say you don't like it. Just say, try to smooth out the peaks and valleys by not giving it power when it's peaking. So, and this was peaking.
Yeah, because then you'll go for the ride down the hill.
This was peaking. And I said, thank you. Like in a very, like the nagging. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. You did your job. All right, good for you.
But there's a lot is in that state.
And it's like you took a big monster.
You turned him into a mouse.
You turned him into a little kid and you said, sit down. And he sat down. And then
Joe Dispenza, you don't move.
And now you're laughing at that scary image and you're going.
Because those are all great. Those are all therapeutic skills, actually. What you just did, you probably without even knowing it, is a act therapy skill where somebody would have a thought about doing something and they would sing it out to the theme of happy birthday. And all of a sudden, that fucking statement, why doesn't it sound scary?
That's good.
Yeah. I'm a loser today.
Mhm.
I'm a loser today. Nobody likes me. I'm a loser today.
We have it in video.
As opposed to, you're a fucking loser. You suck at everything you do. You hear that repeating in your head. All of a sudden you sing it to the tune of Happy Birthday and you laugh in the mirror. You go, oh my God. Yes, it's just words. It's just words that your mind is saying. You don't need to give them the credence. You don't need to push them away. You don't need to give it the amount of importance you give it is which, are you going to feed that beast or not? That's it.
Yeah, everybody's mind is great until it starts telling them shitty things.
Yeah, you could go days and have a great week and your mind's all, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it goes, boo. And you're like, so do you go like this? Or do you say, hey, thanks. Thank you.
A lot of this technique, I kind of think, if I could sum it up, is, not really giving any credence to what your brain is telling you, or deciding whether or not to give it any kind of attention. Really,
because it's tapping you, so you can go on the ride.
Yeah, but the consistency. So the key to any of this, whether you're in sales or whatever you're doing, that's what we started out talking about, is the consistency of keeping that self-awareness in the forefront at all times.
Yeah.
And the only way you keep that self-awareness in the forefront at all times is by practicing it. And whatever your entry point is, whether it's meditation or daily mindfulness, I'm just a watcher of my mind. That's my biggest thing. I watch my mind, and I watch my mind, and I watch it some more, and I watch it some more. I'll meditate, and I'll watch it some more. So whatever your entry point is, whether you want to practice mindfulness skills, like bringing your attention, if you keep that self-awareness in the forefront, it becomes more prominent, it becomes more powerful, it becomes more bright, and it becomes easier for the person, whoever you are, to look at it and now apply a sales skill more properly, right? Apply a business skill more properly. Apply whatever you're doing in a more beneficial way, because you're not listening to the emotion that's nagging behind it, or the story that's nagging behind it, but you're actually just going to apply that. You're gonna pick out the information that's going to benefit you the most and use that instead. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and 99% of us walking around the earth
don't do that.
Don't make this, like you're saying, don't make decisions when you're emotional or when you're angry.
Yeah, the 24-hour rule.
Never make, yeah. Well, that's part of it.
That feeling that was creeping up on me, that anxious feeling. That's, for me, it was anxiety. For John, it could have been you.
And you know what? You're not odd, man. That happens probably to almost everyone, but people deal with it in different ways, or it doesn't affect them the same way.
That's true.
That's really what it comes down. Everybody's got anxiety or things you don't want to do because it might suck or I might fall.
Everybody experience some sort of anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question.
I ain't got shit, bro. I'm joking.
I have a utility question.
The electricity?
Yeah.
I guess.
Last podcast, we talked about PTSD.
Yes.
I wonder if this skill could be applicable to PTSD.
We said it last week.
No. But this particular one, where
what, persuasion?
No. Oh. If you have PTSD, and it's not like every waking moment of the day you're not experiencing PTSD, but you have PTSD thoughts.
They call flashback.
Flashback. Okay, perfect. There you go. Where you see, and I wonder if that person who experiences PTSD can say, "Thank you, mind. I appreciate it."
Of course I can.
And I wonder if that would be a break.
It would be. So what we said it last week. What's the difference between virtual reality VR glasses? And I'm going to think my mind's going to see something. My brain's processing what it sees and believes that to be reality. To me, closing my eyes and having a flashback of something that happened. There were two different incidences. I understand that. One actually happened, one didn't happen. But your body and mind process it the same exact way. Your body processes what it sees, whether my eyes are closed and I have a flashback of something that happened to me. Yeah. Whether my eyes are closed and my mind's projecting something that might happen to me. My body's going to react. My body's going to react as if those are both 100% true.
And all the chemicals in your body
that get released,
are the same.
Mindfulness is you being aware of what's happening and saying to, telling yourself, hey, listen, I'm right here. I'm right. It's right now. None of that's happening. And, and honestly, from what I understand about PTSD, that's been taught for years. And only maybe recently has it been, linked up with, well, that's actually mindfulness and being aware, but it was a technique that really didn't have a name, that had no structure at the time.
Because this is still something that's fairly new.
But that's what they were teaching them.
Even though it's been for a minute. Yeah.
And they still are. Take deep breaths, open your eyes, stand up
where you are.
Plant your feet.
Grounding yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly right.
I was told to do that. You go, if you're in the middle of an OCD episode where your mind's just rattling, pick out colors that you see around you. Call them out. Red, green.
That's going to bring you right here.
Where am I now? Now I'm back in the room where I am. I pulled myself out of a rabbit hole, and I've kind of pulled myself back into reality. It doesn't make it go away, but it gives you
distance.
It gives you a little bit of distance, and it stops the slipping. You stop the slipping and the sliding, and it kind of grounds you a little bit. And then from there, you start taking your steps again, and you realize how the mind quiets down, or it doesn't quiet down, right? We don't try to control it, but.
Well, that was awesome.
Yeah.
There's been an hour. That was a perfect hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
awkward silence.
No, I think we hit it good, man. I appreciate the topic and all.
I mean,
that was awesome.
We bear our ass a little bit here, and like I said, I don't care if anybody
that's not
to say anything.
Come on, that is not.
Well, see, you said that because of what you.
Yeah, because
and there you are thinking about it right now when you shouldn't be, because let it go.
I actually think it's cute. Me personally, I think
everybody deals with it in different ways, man.
No, it's
you do tomorrow, stub your toe.
It's a legitimate technique in acceptance commitment therapy.
Tomorrow, when you're anxious about something coming up, just stub your toe on the corner of the bed. I promise you, you'll stop thinking about whatever was bothering you.
That'll work.
That's a new technique.
That'll work, I guess.
You don't scream, motherfucker, when
you won't be thinking about what was giving you anxiety anymore.
It'll definitely work.
That pinky toe is going to be all you're thinking about.
I turn this head. Oh, my head's killing me. Hold on, give me a finger. Yeah. Bam! He goes, how about your head now? Oh,
you never saw there was an old, it was an 80s Major Pain with one of the famous. Yeah, it was like a guy broke his finger. He goes, let me do a little something to take your mind off that pain. And he broke like his other finger or something like that. Yeah, it was one of those dumb comedies. That was awesome. That was good.
Yeah. So, well, good stuff.
This is the free therapy you guys get. Free knowledge.
Well, we're not therapists, but
it's here for the taking.
Free experience.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, listen, everybody goes through stuff.
Everybody, I mean, okay, sorry, let me.
And wait, everybody goes through stuff. There's only certain people who are strong enough to go, there's something wrong here. We got to do something to fix it. Or the people who don't do that go down a dark path, whether it be alcoholism or whatever. Yeah, you have to be strong enough to go, something's not cool. I have to do something.
Yeah,
and it takes a lot of strength, dude.
Yeah, but that strength is self-awareness, because without that, you don't.
True.
Yeah. I know a lot of stubborn, strong people that just, they're like a ram. They keep banging their head against the wall. The wall's not breaking.
You have to be.
I don't care how strong you think you are. If you're not aware of what you're doing, if you're not aware of what's being barked at you, if you're not aware of
treating people,
they treating people and the decisions that you're making and the choices that you're making. Listen, even through this weekend, I was doing things and I would have a jealous thought would come up, or a I shouldn't do this. Like, the thoughts are still there.
Right.
Do I choose to engage them or not?
Perfect. Yes.
And I see them. I go, that's not how I want to live my life. That's how my ego wants me to live my life, because it wants to make it about me. Look at me. But that's not what it's about. So,
you know what? I'm sorry.
It's
applying it back to our careers. How many? Because it could apply to any job. How many times have you heard the following situation where they need you to do this, and that, the other thing, and you're like, that's not my job. I'm sure it's happened in every workplace.
I had a nickel for every time I said
That's
that.
not my job. But when you have this train of thought, it might enter your mind, be like, that's not my job. But then it gets overridden by the mindful approach, which is
depending on what they're asking you to do. But
like pick up horseshit with my hands, but
if somebody's asking you to do them a favor or help them out, or
But the knee-jerk response is
egoic. It's an egoic response. The knee-jerk response is always an egoic response, because the egoic response is the thinking mind. So it's always going to be It's always going to be the ego saying, no, this isn't a me problem. It's a you problem.
Yeah, it probably is. He's right. Probably is that ego.
Yeah, the ego is, it's always
Ego is a big problem. It honestly is. And it just,
So how can this help you in your career? Well, very simple. If the mindfulness filter were in place and it's not asking you much, you might have to stay later a half hour. It might be an inconvenience of a half hour. But let me inject some selfishness. If you did whatever that was well, and you did it with good meaning, good care, and, you didn't do the first thing, the first knee-jerk reaction, but that's not my job. But if you opted for the second way, maybe there's somebody who's watching. Maybe somebody
you're gaining experience, maybe.
That's, and on top of everything else, you gain
it's
some
positive to all those kind of
You're
things.
right.
Yeah.
And like, there's a way of uncovering the positive in a situation like that, not just basically just leave it at that. Mindfulness helps you broaden your mind to a lot of things. We always said about capacity, and then we said about thought slowdown. You know what I mean? Not thought slowdown, but basically a slowdown, a perceived slowdown.
You get to respond.
Right? A perceived slowdown.
Yeah, because you allow yourself a chance to respond to something, not react to it.
Capacity, perceived slowdown. And you never know. It could benefit you in some other ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool beans.
El Rapo.
Let's wrap it up, big guy.
El
Waiting on you.
Rapo Uppo.
You're the rapper.
I can't reach the button. El Rapo. El Rapo Uppo. All right, I think we're good.
That's it. Thanks,
All
everybody.
right, guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening back. Hopefully everybody enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you guys next week.
Write it and tell us all how you don't like his 15 minutes of silence in the beginning.
I was listening to you mofos talk. Peace. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.